Hey everyone, me Kevin here. It's coupon expiration night and we need to talk about this Tesla robot interaction, which looks like it is doing full-fledged artificial intelligence, robotic, I don't know, taekwondo or karate or whatever we want to call it. We're going to break this down because there's a lot going on in this picture that may not be obvious at first glance. I'm going to break it down. In addition to that, Bank of America tells us some crazy things about the stock market. I'm going to give us those first really quickly because they're a little bit on the nutty side, in my opinion, but I think they're quite interesting. Listen to just some of these numbers. Won't take long. Look at this. Treasuries market. 6th biggest outflow out of the market ever, which is crazy because yields were basically stable over the last week, which means people dumped the crap out of treasuries, probably because we're like, all right, we're not going to get any bad data, so I guess yields are just going to hang out here for a while. And even Myron is like, maybe we don't have to cut that much. We talked about Myron earlier today in the other video. You should watch it if you haven't yet. Then global equities, 3rd highest ever inflows ever. 3rd highest inflows, $114 billion in the last 3-week period. 3rd highest inflows ever. Global equity ETFs, biggest inflows ever. Tech inflows in the week, 9.3 billion, biggest on record. Financials on course for the 2nd largest inflow ever. Healthcare at a record inflow. Materials, annualized $71 billion inflow. Clients at Bank of America, 64.7% stocks, the highest allocation since March of 2022. March of 22 was when the Federal Reserve started hiking rates. We started selling off in roughly January 2022, some stocks in December 2021. And you had probably a good downturn for about 11 months. You know, some stocks bottomed later that summer, like July. Some stocks didn't bottom until, September to November of 2022. Remarkable. Bonds have the lowest allocation since May of 2022, which means people are giving up on bonds. And cash now has the lowest allocation since September of 2018. Wow, that was right before, well, actually sort of right during the bond market stress that really culminated in the flip-flop by the Federal Reserve in December of 2018, which of course I was also covering and making YouTube videos on, which is kind of crazy to think that I'm now coming up on 8 years of covering the Fed, but that was 7 years ago. Anyway, wild. So some of this data I was just looking at, in addition to coming upon this, which we need to break down here in detail, especially where Tesla's valuation is. Yesterday I did what I thought was a great video breaking down what was going on with Tesla. Obviously, the last couple days here, Tesla stock is down about 6%. We obviously expected that there would be some buy the rumor, sell the news. This is logical. This isn't that hard to anticipate, especially when we're, relatively in no man's land with the stock. There are no real support lines around where Tesla stock is right now. And that's okay. So expect that volatility. Over the last couple days, we've been talking about Tesla going to 414. It literally got all the way down to 416 today, which is remarkable. We did, though, have a little bit more pressure in tech and the Qs than expected. And part of that was a concern about institutional selling. Now, I thought this was really interesting because there are some folks who are circulating commentary that are suggesting institutions started dumping stocks, well, today and yesterday. And there are a few telltale signs for institutions dumping stocks, not just here, this tweet from First Squawk going, professional investors dumping U.S. equities. Institutional investors sold $3.6 billion last week. Biggest in 3 months. Hedge funds sell for 3rd straight week. Okay. We can usually tell when institutions are selling based on the time when the orders come through. Usually, this is just a little bit of insight from somebody who used to do institutional orders, me. Usually institutions will set up orders for market on open or market on close. So you're really not intraday trading that much when you're running a fund. You send your order to your broker dealer or the person doing your orders. They send it through compliance. And there's so much bull crap that goes on that usually you just mark the order as not an ASAP order, but rather you just mark it as, well, basically either it's going to happen on open or it's going to happen on close. Now, it's really interesting that, this morning in the Alpha Report, I was really hoping that if institutions didn't dump, that we would see the tech trade continue, like AMD finally pushing the 164 line. But unfortunately, what happened is institutions dumped, and so AMD came right back to 164. In fact, you could see it right here. Take a look specifically at the cues, and I want to teach you this so you could see it yourself. Look at the 5-minute chart the last 2 days. Look at those open sells. Now, we did get this funky midday sell here, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. This is your open selling. This is your open selling, which is usually a sign of institutions dumping. The only time we tend to get intraday selling is when things like, oh crap, the budget just didn't get extended in the Senate. We just didn't get the votes. And all of a sudden, massive volume comes in to create some form of intraday event that ends up getting heavily traded. And keep in mind, there are institutional traders that trade during the day. But it's your long funds that usually don't trade much intraday. They're usually trading at open and close. So anyway, we got to talk about this this Tesla video because it's really, really fascinating and it's really suggestive of like some real progress here with these robotics. We're going to talk about that. I want to quickly mention that I'm just going to read it verbatim. This morning I wrote, the only way we don't continue to QQQ 615 IMO today is if institutions start to panic over the lack of data. And I even said, retail's going to buy the dip, and we explained this in our live stream. Retail's going to buy the dip, but institutions are probably going to start getting nervous about selling, especially when you got this sort of fund manager flow, which is insane, or I would not even just fund manager flow, just broad equity markets flow. These are crazy inflows into the market. This is more than FOMO. This is like turning to euphoria. And don't get me wrong, I love it because I feel like every single day my stocks keep making me money. I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, this is not sustainable, but this is great. Like, I love this. I love my exposure to like chip stocks or whatever, or the 10 stocks we're buying over the next 10 years. It doesn't matter, right? But institutions get nervous when we don't get the data, and not getting the BLS data isn't great. Now, let's talk about this regarding the Optimist here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this clip on the Optimist, and I want you to think, do you think that this is tele-operated by somebody wearing a suit? Or do you think it's remote control operated by somebody with a joystick? Yes, spoiler alert, there's a guy holding a remote control in the back left. Second spoiler alert, he's not controlling the robot. I will explain it in just a moment. And then I'm going to explain to you Elon Musk's reply here and what I think Elon is not telling us. Are you ready for this? And no, it's not going to be, Elon's reminding you that the coupon daddy's back expires. And why I got to change it sometime tonight. I got a lot of crap still left to do. But anyway, here we go. Looks pretty cool. Pretty dang impressive performance by the Optimus robot there. Now, there is a question that is replied here, which I'm almost certain Elon was anticipating that this question would be asked. So here Elon goes, Tesla Optimus is learning Kung Fu. Here Devin Olson writes, teleoperated or AI powered. Elon writes, AI, not teleoperated. And when I first saw this, I'm like, that's pretty damn impressive. Now, how long do we think those actuators are actually going to be able to last? Like, how many fights can it go in before it, A, runs out of battery? Not many, less than an hour. How long before the, servos burn out or need a break or overheat? Probably not long. That's just sort of the stage of robotics right now. That's really not anything bearish. That's just sort of where robotics are today. That's just the nature of technology today. But Elon said that this is AI. All right, then, fine. If this is AI, who the hell is this guy with the remote? Well, I believe that, you see these rails up here? These rails right here are stationary rails that house cranes. They're basically just crane rails. The easiest way to see it is right here in this frame. See this Optimus hanging from this crane right here? I believe there's another crane holding this Optimus. And as this Optimus moves forward, this crane gets operated to the left, to our left, right? To this person's right. At the same time as the crane moves to the left, you're gonna notice this guy subconsciously starts walking to the left as well. A, because he's gonna get whacked by this Optimus, and B, because he knows that he's not remote controlling this Optimus, he's remote controlling the crane. Yeah, so basic here. You're gonna see that. You can see as that crane is moving, he is also moving to not get whacked by the crane. There's another crane. So this is pretty obvious. He just seems to be on, let's just call it the x-axis, moving the tether for the Optimus robot to the left or the right. Now, a lot of people are very excited about the behavior of this because, oh my gosh, like the Optimus robot is responding to this person in, a black karate uniform, and wow, this looks so impressive. Okay, first things first, this guy's wearing Crocs, and I don't actually know if they know anything about karate. I'm not about to tell you that I know everything there is to know about, karate or kung fu or whatever the hell we're doing over here. But what I will say is the robot does not appear to actually be interacting with the person. Now, that's going to piss some people off, but I will show you my rationale for why. I believe that this robot has been repeatedly trained to behave in the same way. In other words, the robot is going to start by, doing a few warm-up punches, and then we're gonna get ready, and then we're gonna do high block, low block, kick, high block, low block, or something to that element. I think the human is choreographing with the robot, knowing what the robot is going to do next. One of the reasons I believe this is the robot is not actually even pointing its head at the person, suggesting that the robot is not actually responding with artificial intelligence to the person. Instead, maybe it was, trained to repeat a pattern with somebody in a teleoperated suit, and then, all right, we've recorded this pattern, now go do this pattern over and over again, and the human is now going to sort of like engage with the robot for the show. It's a good show either way because it shows you sort of the mechanics of where the technology is going and the actuators and how strong they are. But I'm going to show you where the points are where I think this happens. So what we'll do is we'll play this and we'll slow this down in just a moment. All right, ready? Here we go. All of this likely to me, just a script. Okay, now let's go slow it down now to 0.25, so quarter speed. And I'll just let it play and we'll narrate, okay? So we'll narrate here. So obviously this is the initiation. Now here, that punch by the Optimus, I wanted to keep it playing, but it's kind of important to see this. This punch by the Optimus, I think the individual in the black outfit knows that the punch is coming, but look at where the punch goes. The punch doesn't actually go towards the person. It goes out kind of in line with where this X is over here. He's not even over there. Now, he might be there, and I think that's why he kind of steps into it, to get a little closer. Like, who takes this punch? What kind of freaking punch is this? I mean, I hate to say this, but like, who throws a jab? Like this guy's throwing a jab right here. What is this? That's not even a jab, first of all. This is like This is like an arm lever punch. I've never seen that. Usually you jab with your forward arm, and this is like some kind of like half-hearted swat. And you're not even making contact with the Optimus in that moment, right? So watch the Optimus's left arm. Watch this arm right here. That arm's just gonna get yeeted out towards the X. Yeeted out towards the X. This guy's gonna like pretend to swat it. Misses it. They totally miss each other there. Now, the Optimus then just repeats, you know, because like I said, I think this is a script. You know, you kind of start, and the Optimus is going like, all right, like imagine you're the person in black. The Optimus is like, all right, execute script. And like you're the person. It's like, bro, this is just a script. It's not even a good one, right? But anyway, then we get, you know, the right arm from the Optimus, which is I think it was trained by somebody who also doesn't do martial arts. Just this is a very bizarre fighting stance to be in with this half-hearted. It's not really a jab. It's like, because a jab would be more towards the head. It's more of like a body swat also. Now we're getting a lunge forward by the Optimus, which he happens to know perfectly. Like he already knows, like, oh, the Optimus is gonna step forward. Like, look at this. Like, as the Optimus leans forward, this guy's already like, oh yeah. I mean, technically this punch has already come in here, and then this guy's gonna like, all right, yeah, hey, we're gonna back up here because we know exactly what the Optimus is doing. In fact, you could see him sort of raise his arm right here to block the Optimus. Which, what the hell is this? What kind of attack is this? I mean, first of all, his whole face is exposed. You just punch the crap out of him with a jab. If you didn't step back, you just smoked this guy in a fight already. A long time ago, okay? But anyways, but you know, like, who blocks while your foot is in the air? You know, this is like the most unstable foundation for a fight. This is like embarrassing fighting. Like, please get some people who know how to fight. But anyway, it's like so now you're gonna air block the Optimus, who's also floating while this is happening. They're literally both floating while this funky air slap is happening. And now, I mean, this has some potential here. Some potential, because, you know, you could take a step and lunge, but the problem is the Optimus, like, sort of lunges its arm before it actually steps. Like, look at that. The lunge is complete, and now we're stepping. Which is not how you lunge, right? Like, if you're going to lunge, you're gonna, right? Like, you extend when your foot hits the ground. Now, you don't extend and then, oh shit, I need to get my balance. All your power's gonna go away, right? I get it. It's just a robot. I get it. But come on, man. All right. So, let's keep going here. All right. Now we're doing this insane come and get me demo. Now we're gonna do some things that look cool. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna lean back and swat forward to touch tips, I guess. Okay, predictable kick here. Yeah, and now we're gonna do this little fist bump, and now I want you to push me. Here comes the push. And this is nice though, because you do get to see the Optimus balance a little bit. I'm not sure what that kick was for. A little karate kick here, or you know, like karate kid kick. All right, good. Here comes, now gotta align with a little push here, and oh, let's give him a little push. This is you gotta give him credit. Kind of good that these Optimus robots can balance like this. Big fan. I give him credit. All right, I'll finish. Oh yeah, shake it off a little bit, and I'm ready to keep going. I mean, it's obviously extremely choreographed. Fine. It's still really cool because look at the darn thing. It can balance on one leg. Yeah, it's tethered, but that's because if this thing falls over, all of this is like 3D printed cladding that just makes them look cool. It's gonna shatter, and you're gonna have to sit there for 4 hours and print a new plate or more because some of these are multi-piece molds. It's a pain in the butt. Most of the tech here, though, that I think is cool is the balance. You know, I love the balance we've got in the hips. I love what I'm seeing in the mobility in the legs and the arms. The whole thing, though, this is not artificial intelligence. I've got a guy controlling a crane to make sure the thing doesn't face plant. I've got, a guy in Crocs who's, doing a choreographed headband dance with a robot. And I got a robot who has a script, who is, presenting a show of maneuverability. That's what we have here. Unfortunately, when you only watch it once, it looks like you have a robot that is, how should I put it, responding to the individual, right? So the first time you watch it, you're like, oh my gosh, the robot is reacting to everything the guy is doing. This is so impressive. But the reality is actually the opposite. The guy has done this dance 27 times, and he knows exactly what move the robot's going to make. It can barely hold its balance. The robot's just going through its script. Still, it's cool. Is it very impressive? No. So, this is, unfortunately, though, sometimes the MO we get from Elon. And I liked it because initially I'm like, oh, wow, really? That's pretty impressive. Elon discussing Optimus robot learning kung fu moves through AI-driven imitation, not teleoperation. Right. That's actually interesting that it mentions imitation here. I didn't see this, but I think that is, I think it's script. I think imitation is a nice way of saying script. This is to the extent that Grok understands as well. But that's my take. So I find it kind of interesting. I also was looking a little bit here. I did find it interesting as well that there's this company here called Cerebus Systems. They scheduled to IPO. They filed this IPO, this S1 last year. And they showed a net loss of $127 million, loss from operations of $133. But they're a chip company. And they actually just raised a $1.1 billion funding round just a few days ago, valuing them at $8.1 billion. And the CEO said that when they were doing the funding, that their funding round wasn't going to impact their desire to actually go public. And now they've withdrawn their IPO, saying, oh, yeah, just kidding, we got all this funding, and now just kidding, we actually don't want to go public anymore. Cerebus Systems, with request for withdrawal of S1, which is really interesting because it kind of makes me wonder, like, did you get your funding and now you're like, this isn't the best time to go public, we're at the top of the market, maybe things are a little stretched, or, are you guys worried because you're going to have to issue updated financials and now you just took on a bunch of extra debt, and, maybe we're getting to that point in the cycle where people are like, oh man, damn, these AI companies are just living off of debt right now. I don't know. So there's definitely some interesting things going on at this time of the market. We'll be incorporating these in our strategies in the Meet Kevin membership. I have a bunch of lectures to film this weekend, so I'll be hard at work this weekend filming lectures and continuing with our house hack renovations, which I'm very excited about. We're kicking butt on them. You watch, we did a little house hack video too if you want to see those. And I might take a little bit of a nap and then get to that coupon code. So it might still be active when you watch this video, but anyway, go to meetkevin.com and I'll change it as soon as I can. Appreciate y'all being here, and cheers to the topo.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.